All right, I want to welcome everybody to Baseball Beyond Borders webinar series. These webinars are a way to stay connected with community while highlighting life beyond the foul lines. We will continue to offer these webinar series in alignment with our Moving Beyond 12 9-inning framework that connects student athletes' passions to their academic futures. Baseball Beyond Borders thanks you for joining our village. Today we are joined by Jed Collins, author of Your Money Vehicle, which breaks down the complicated language of money and packages into short stories that give readers financial clarity to get started with cash management, taxes, investments, and more. Jed is an NFL alum, an advocate of Baseball Beyond Borders, Moving Beyond 12's program models, and a graduate of the Washington State University. Welcome, Jed.
Thank you for having me on, brother. I love what you are doing, this community that you're building. Obviously, as a former student athlete, to have your unifier be baseball, it means a lot. You speak to the principles of what that takes to make it in that game. And what I'm excited to do is share a little bit about how those principles and those same concepts are going to translate into success and beyond the field.
Absolutely. So should you have questions for Jed, we ask that you use the chat feature. And we will work to accommodate all questions in the time available. So with that, Jed, go ahead and take us away.
All right. Well, welcome in. I appreciate any and all who are sharing this evening with me. And really what I wanted to begin with is just kind of an introduction to who I am, why I'm talking to you, and hopefully what is the one thing you're going to get out of this. So as Bookie said, Jedidiah Collins, and as I do with all of my workshops, I challenge you to write down your name. Your name is a very important piece to all of this. I always lead with my name because it's something I'm proud of, but it's what I grew to understand as an athlete, as a student, and as a businessman. Your name is your brand, and it represents everything about you. And so if you were to write down your name, the next thing would be to draw two vertical lines like this, and then leaving that that space in between blank. I want you to write down a goal. So it's going to be your name, two vertical lines, left blank, and then a goal on this side. And why I love to do this is because it introduces my rookie to veteran philosophy. Rookie to veteran. This is a journey, a mindset, and a growth trajectory. What I saw with every rookie that walked into the NFL locker room was the idea of potential. And if you look in between those two lines you drew, their name, the gap, in their goal. Their goal was to become a veteran. Their goal was to achieve success. And this middle ground, this kind of barren phantom line that appears, that is potential. And potential is one of those words that gets often used. I actually have a negative connotation or a negative feeling when people tell me I have potential. And I'm not saying if somebody tells you you have potential that they're trying to insult you. But in my heart, in my stomach, I always took it as them telling me I haven't achieved yet. I haven't accomplished what I set out to. And as I was traveling through the NFL, I got cut a dozen times, and I kept seeing this potential gap, this idea of I could be, but I'm not. And my goal, my mission, my vision was, how do I eliminate that gap? How do I eliminate potential? And that's a little bit about what we're here to discuss, that rookie to veteran sequence around how I observed and absorbed from watching the best in the world. And so what I'm excited to do is share a little bit of my journey and explain how finances and my passion around financial empowerment has fit into that mix. So my journey really began one day, my rookie year. I was sitting at an extended stay hotel in Cleveland, Ohio. And I got handed an envelope with my first big NFL paycheck in it. I was an undrafted guy. I didn't get a big signing bonus, but I got activated in Cleveland. And if you look at any NFL player, however much money he makes, take that contract, divide it by 17, because there's 17 weeks in a season. That's how big of a check they get every week. So some of those cats who make $17 million, every week they make $1 million check. It's pretty incredible to sit next to a guy opening that kind of envelope. It's kind of a cool thing. You also learn about taxes really quickly. We'll get into that later. But As I got my first big check, I looked at it, and before I opened the envelope, I knew I'd already spent every dime that was going to be on that check. And that relationship, that understanding I had with money was what really shook me and woke me up to the fact that I had no idea what to do with money. I was an accounting major. As Book said, I went to Washington State. I got a beautiful business degree. You told me XYZ company, I could give you financial statements, but nobody sits you down and tells you, hey, the Johnson family is going to make $70,000 this year. What are they supposed to do with it? I never had that course, that class. And the reality was most of the guys sitting in my position had it neither. And so I looked at my first check. It was gone. It was spent. I bought an engagement ring. So it ended up being a wise investment. But at the time, it really showed me all I knew about money was I made money and I spent money. I was a spendor. And I emphasize that OR, spendor, because my challenge today, one of the questions I want you to answer is, what type of or are you? Are you a spendor? Make money, money goes out the door. Make money, money goes out the door. Are you a savor? Now you start to see money in a 1 to 2 year time frame. You say, I want to save up for this event. I want to save up for a car, a house, a vacation, a diamond ring. Do you save up for a specific object? That is a savor, money in a year-to-year time frame. And it wasn't really until I got into the NFL, I started to understand that first check was gone. I needed to educate myself. I went down to a local bookstore. For some of you cats, a bookstore where these buildings where actual books were sitting on shelves. Don't worry about the history lesson here. But I went into a bookstore and I picked up a personal finance book, and it changed my life. It changed my philosophy and my mindset around what money was supposed to be used for. That book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's changed millions of people's lives. It actually challenged me to go and write my first book, Your Money Vehicle. But as I got introduced to that, it introduced me to the mindset of the wealthy. If I, as a young professional athlete, was going to be rich and be handed these big checks, what was the difference between being rich and being wealthy? And how did I eliminate the potential and actually become somebody who thinks like a wealthy person? What I came to realize was they were not spendors. They were not savors. They were investors. They didn't look at money on a day-to-day or year-to-year time frame. Investors look at money over a decade time frame. And they don't look at money for what I can go to work for it. They look at how money can go to work for them. And so that just mindset shift, that is something that I love to introduce to people. I love to kind of welcome you into how we start to see money. You start to see it based on what maybe your upbringing, maybe how your family, maybe the job or the career you want to have. What type of student you are can often dictate what your relationship is with money. And so one of the questions I want you to answer and write down is, when I say the words money is, what do you think of? Is money your identification? My net worth is my self-worth. That is how I understand and use money. Is money my fear? Money gives me anxiety. Money is anxious to me. Is money evil? I think the only way to get money is by using and exploiting other people. Or is money my everything? It's just my world. I'm frugal. I'm cheap. I don't want to spend more. Everyone has a different journey and a different philosophy. And if you walk away with anything today, I want you to start to better understand what your money philosophy is. As I sit down with professional athletes, I get to look them in the eyes and say, who else is on this journey with you? Who is it? Is it your family? Is it your parents? Is it your cousins? Is it your friends? Who else do you want to take on this with you? That is the first discussion we have to have around what your philosophy is going to be with that section of your money. You've got to better understand how you're going to give money. And if you don't have a personal philosophy for them on the give, for you on the what, how do you think about it, then you will always be wishing you had approached a situation better. And so that's where my personal financial journey began. It began out of fear because after my first check left, I woke up in sweats. I woke up and my stomach was in knots, and I knew the physical toll football was going to do, but I was going to walk out of it without achieving the real dream. And these are two differentiators I love to share. Is number one, and I told this to a group of rookies who just got drafted a few weeks ago. I told it to them before they got drafted. But your dream as a baseball player is not to be drafted into Major League Baseball. That is not your dream. That is a part of your dream. That might be the first step of the dream. But your dream is to leave your game with something to show for it. I call it a bag of M&Ms. You will leave the game with some money and some memories. And having both of those intact gets you to and allows you to always look at your game for what it gave you, not for what it took from you. And I don't care if the last game you play baseball is in middle school, high school, college, professional, you want to leave with that same mindset. Leaving, having the game have given you more than it has taken from you. And that is one of the biggest differences I want to awaken people to what their sports dream is. Your sports dream is not to just merely get there. That rookie has potential. Your dream is to become one person that gets to walk away from their game at any phase of their life and look at it for all of the things that it gave you. I also mentioned the difference between rich and wealthy. This is just one of those misconceptions. Rich means I have money today. Every professional athlete is rich. You know a lot of rich people. I know doctors who are rich and make a lot of money, but are not wealthy. Wealth is how many days you don't have to worry about money. And this is one of those decision factors. A spendor can be rich. A savor can be rich. A spendor and a savor cannot be wealthy, because money is not their employee. Money is not working for them. And so as you start to look at this game, I'm not just simply talking about investing, but I'm talking about how to look at money differently. Again, my objective tonight is to welcome you into one of the concepts where I'm going to talk about here in a second around the Be a Pro mindset, rookie to veteran. But I wanted to approach that relationship with money. So, Book, you can stop me at any time. So the Be a Pro mindset, this is something I love to introduce people to, and it's something that is going to really help create what your approach is going to be to the game of baseball, to your student engagements, to your careers one day. This message, this term, Be a Pro, I was in 12 different locker rooms. I saw this 3-word saying in every single locker room: Be a Pro. It was not just a mindset. It was not just a mantra. It was an answer. Any excuse you had, the answer was simple: Be a Pro. Be a Pro. You were late to a meeting? Be a Pro. You forgot your assignment? Be a Pro. You didn't do your homework? Be a Pro. You're not eligible to play? Be a Pro. So where that Be a Pro mindset begins is with confidence. Confidence is one of these beautiful things, and it's the basis of how you handle defeat, how you achieve greatness. Confidence is that foundation that you're going to rely and depend on. I actually remember down in Arizona, we had a coach who would gather together the rookies each year, and he would gather them and start to talk to them and say, man, how cool is this? You guys, you get to play with these guys, and look at that's us at the Super Bowl. And the emotions in the room would start to grow. The rookies kind of started out a little shy at first, and then they started to remember they deserve this. This is what they've earned. They started to bump their chest, start high-fiving each other. And as the energy and emotion would grow, he would ask them a question. They were excited, and he would say, do you feel like you've earned this? And they would all say, yeah, high five. And he would tell them all to sit down. Say, that's your first mistake. You haven't earned any of this. That cockiness, that external voice, that bravado you walk around with, that has a negative impact. That is not what we're here to do. No veteran is going to like it. Nobody is going to believe you deserve to be here based on what you say. Confidence is an internal voice. Confidence is that one in between your ears, and it's going to be the first person that believes any dream that you have set out for yourself. So do me a favor right now. What is something you are confident in? Whether that be someone can give you confidence, some place can give you confidence, some skill can give you confidence. I know some cats who put them next to a dartboard. They are the most confident person in the room. Write down something that is going to bring you confidence and look at your skills specifically out on the field. What is one of the areas you are confident you can be the best on the team at? I'm not saying each and every one of you have to be the best on the team. All I'm saying is if you start to identify where you can be more confident, you will start to have the mindset of leading down the direction you wanted to go. So as you look at that, that kind of answers a question around money. Money confidence begins with that identifier, that answer to money is. Am I confident in how I handle money? What type of or am I? Our financial journey begins with this idea of really identifying who we are. Now, the second part around the Be a Pro mindset has to do with trust. Trust is, after confidence, probably the most powerful piece in every relationship you're going to have. Stephen Covey wrote a book called The Speed of Trust, and he goes in and defines it as a trust tax or a trust dividend. A trust tax takes away from a relationship. A trust dividend adds to a relationship. Let me give you an example. If a coach walks into the room and says, hey, be out on the field in 15 minutes taking BP, they have a relationship where they either trust you're going to be there and can meet you there or not even check in, or they're going to come back and micromanage you in about 13 minutes, walk back in the room and ask you why you're not out there. That trust tax, trust dividend, it will be in every relationship you have. My rookie year, I was in the Philadelphia Eagles organization. Again, undrafted kid. I didn't get many reps. One of my first reps, I lined up. I was so excited. This was off season. We didn't even have pads on, but I was ready to prove I was supposed to be there. Lined up as a fullback, too excited, twitched, whistle blew. I had a false start penalty. And before I could stand up, I looked to the sidelines and somebody was jogging off the sidelines to replace me. They had just stolen my rep. I was so aggravated with myself. I walked to the sideline, my chin strap still buckled, and our head coach, Andy Reid at the time, walks up to me and says, son, we can't beat ourselves out there. And I looked at him, and that was the first words he ever said directly to me. Why he probably called me son is because he didn't know my real name. But as he said those things, I really took it to heart. I said, okay, what is he trying to teach me? He's trying to teach me about trust. He is the head coach, the assistant coaches, the scouts, the rest of my team. They were going to have to trust that I was going to add to the team. I wasn't going to be taking away from it. Out on the field, they could trust I was going to be consistent with my approach, my performance, my preparation. That trust tree is such a vital, vital tool. If you are sitting and watching this, I want you to look and think about your team. Who on your team do you have the best trust dividend with? Who on your team do you look at and say, I'll trust this guy or gal with everything? Bottom of the ninth, I can trust he's going to perform. We're out and I need his help. I can trust that he's going to show up for me. I need help with my homework. I can trust somebody's going to be there. Then look at the other side of the coin and say, where is a trust tree that is a tax, that is kind of taking away and limiting your engagement, your relationship? Where is a trust that you can begin to build and utilize and strengthen a relationship? Those are two names you should write down. One I trust, one I want to build trust with. That will give you something to walk away with that will change your future and change how you see people. Because a person who first doesn't trust themselves, doesn't have the confidence, can never truly trust anyone else. So that's why we begin with internal confidence, that internal voice, and then we get to trust and start to build those trees and those relationships. So as we look at it, we start to say, again, financially, who do I trust? Who can I trust in my money? Who can I trust to teach me about money? That might be one of the biggest questions, might be a name you should be writing down. Where can I learn? This cat, Jed Collins, I don't know. He seems okay. Does he put out, yeah, man, I want to teach you stuff about money, but you should have somebody that you can go to as your world and things change. There are going to be a lot of questions that come up. I'm more than welcome and willing to answer as many as I can, but always have a mentor that you can turn to around finances, because as your world spins, you will continually ping that person. And I'll tell you, people love to invest in you. They love to give you their time. They love to share your expertise. Ask them the right questions. Why do you do what you do? How have you achieved success? What should I be working on? Those are excellent questions to ask any kind of mentor. So now we have confidence. And when I set a goal, I build confidence. When I keep a goal, I build trust. But the third facet around the be a pro mindset has to do with value. The one thing every veteran, every pro has in common is they always add value. They always add value. They make plays and they make you learn their name. One of my favorite stories to share was when I was down in New Orleans. Down in New Orleans in August, if any of you have ever spent some time down in the South, it's very hot. And it's not only hot, it's sticky hot. We actually had a rule in our collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, that said if it's ever over 118 degrees, you got to take practice indoors. Well, every day of training camp, there would be a big dry erase board that said 118 degrees, go outside. Somehow our coaches controlled the weather and we continued to practice outside. But as you walk out into that heat, that humidity, your shoes start to squish. Everybody's tempers are a little bit shortened. And I knew it was going to be a day to go to work. My play was a simple chip block, which meant I was going to run by and throw my elbow into the defensive end and scurry out to the flat. I was a fullback. Nobody was going to throw me the ball. So as I achieved my play, I felt the defensive end. He felt me, and I could actually hear when my contact was made. I ran out to the flat. My play was achieved. I did my job. I helped the tackle. We're all good. I start jogging back to the huddle, and this defensive end just so happened to be a 10-year Pro Bowl player, 315-pound bad mamba jamba. He came and he grabbed me by the face mask, and he started laying into me. Now, some obscenities, Bookie and I agreed I wasn't going to share, but he said something that I will never forget. He said, "I don't know you. I don't know your name." Now, this was the moment. This was the moment I had to choose. Was I going to be a rookie or was I going to be a pro and become a veteran? In that moment, I could be cocky. I could use my external voice, yell back at him. "My name's Jedidiah. Why don't you know that? I've been here for a year." I could break the trust of practice, try to prove my worth and my value that way, fighting him. Maybe I can prove who I was by trying to embrace in physical contact. Not going to work. In that moment, I went back to the huddle. I had that thought in my mind. What is your name? Just so happened the football god smiled down on me. The next play had me and this 315-pound Pro Bowl defensive end going toe-to-toe. Back in the day, I was a little bit more crazy. I had beautiful long hair and about 30 more pounds. I put my face mask into his chest. I knocked him on the ground. What I did after that play is I walked up to him and he held up his hand and I knocked his hand away and I pointed to the tape on my helmet. Had my last name. This was training camp. You always have your name taped on your helmet. And I pointed to that name because without saying a word, I had made a play and I'd made this veteran learn my name. Not only that night on film, every coach, every scout, every player was going to say, "Watch Collins on this play." So as you look at that, where can you put your name? I had you write down your name at the beginning. I'm going to circle back to that here in a second. But the exercise right now, what is an area you can add value on? As a young person, being impacted and affected by what is going outside right now, you have some time to focus, some time to regroup, but you also have some time to sharpen your axe. You look at where you can add value. What is a skill you can be developing right now? What is something that I could be watching film on? I could be watching videos of the best in the world because those are a click away. Maybe it's something I could be reading. Maybe it's something I could be listening to. Maybe it's an exercise, a stretch, a drill I can do at home. Where do I want to put my name? Because that name becomes your brand and it is your reputation. It is what precedes you in every aspect of your life. In the baseball world, in the sports community, it's maybe on the back of your shirt, it's wherever it is, but as your resume gets handed, that name is how people will define you. So this last challenge I want to give you is, what do you want people to say when they see your name? I see my name, I see confidence. People who know me see my name, they should trust it. But the people who don't know me, what do I want them to think and say? One word, 3 words, whatever you want to write down. When they see your name, that thing you started out this workshop writing down, why it's so important and valuable, is that will reflect an impact and show you who exactly you are. My name's Jedidiah. I'm a hard worker. I'm going to be the first one in the building, and I'm going to give you effort on each and every time. I am a creative. That's something that I didn't realize till about 30 years old, but I love writing. I love telling stories, and I am authentic. For better or worse, you're always going to meet who I really am. That's a good thing. That's also a very bad thing at times, so you measure it. But a hard worker, creative, authentic, that's what I want you to see when you see my name. I would love for you to write down what you want people to see when they see your name. So I hope this was a little bit of a direction, a little bit of focus. We can take questions on the financial side, what questions you have. I don't love offering too much financial information up front because everybody's at different parts of their journey. So I'd just love to hear from you guys and hear what's up.
Jed, thank you so much, man. I do appreciate you sharing that piece of information. I was always reminded too in my time, they use that phrase, it's not about what you know, it's who you know, oftentimes. And that's the kind of culture in which we live in which when you look for employment, you're looking to gain some sort of economic means, it's about who you know. But in actuality, it's who knows you and what they know about you. So when you talk about adding value to your name, that is the part of that value that you're desiring individuals to have. So that when somebody hears your name, when they say, I know Jedidiah Collins, they're going to know exactly what you're about, and they're going to know exactly the value that you can bring to their organization, to their company, or to just a team for that matter. So that was some great information, and I love just how you broke it down, the bag of M&Ms. I think it's often something that we try to teach them. It's about memories, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of the outcome that we're going to experience in playing summer baseball or baseball from elementary to middle school to high school, for those that continue on into college and even the professional ranks, it's really about the memories you create. Because we're never gonna remember the losses that we receive, right? We won't even remember the wins, but we're gonna remember those memories.
Yes.
And then we created with the relationships that we gain with our peers. So I do appreciate that.
And I love that, because if this time teaches us anything, we don't control the outcome. We don't control the scoreboard. What we control are the inputs. What we control are our processes and our behaviors. That's right. That is something I love. And I actually had to write down what you just said. Who knows you and what do they know about you? That was excellent.
That's right. That's character.
That's character.
So as we prepare, and if anybody has questions, feel free to use the chat feature, or we also have Facebook Live. At this point, if we don't have anything, I do have some questions for Jed, and these are going to be our lightning round questions. So hopefully you're prepared and you're ready to respond. Because again, it's about who knows you, right? What do they know? What is Jed about? Who is Jed behind the money vehicle? Mm-hmm. And so here's the one question I'll ask: greatest baseball player of all time?
Great, like my favorite, or like
your favorite?
Mike,
favorite. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I'm a SoCal kid. I have to go Mike Trout right now for best. I always liked Chipper Jones growing up. Mm-hmm. One, he just had a great name, but he played the game, and I think he ended up playing 20 years. He got up there.
Long time.
So I always loved him growing up. I didn't grow up a Mariners fan, so I was never in the Griffey world. But Chipper Jones and Barry. I mean, Barry made the game. He transcended the game. I remember very vividly watching the home run race between him and McGuire and Sosa, and being so excited every day to go open the newspaper and be like, "Wow, they got another. You got another one." So that growing up, I was a San Francisco Giants fan. Obviously, Chipper wasn't, but I think I would go with Barry Bonds.
Okay, good. That's a good response. I'll take that one. Favorite athlete of all time?
David Robinson. That's an easier one for me.
Nice.
The Admiral. I remember reading like a short little book on him growing up, but it was beyond his basketball. Obviously, he's a top 50 player of all time. I remembered little stats. He removed from the Navy because he was too big. He could walk the entire length of the court on his hands. But what the book and what everybody said about him speaks to what we just discussed about character and brand. David Robinson has been and will always be one of the most respected players to ever play the game of basketball. He was an Olympian. He was a champion. He was all those things, but he was a role model, and he was the truest definition of a man.
Love it. So, I got to ask a question about football now. Who is your favorite football player of all time?
Did you catch that? Baseball, basketball. So truly, we grew up a basketball family. So my favorite football player, again, I liked San Francisco growing up, but my favorite football player, when I truly started to watch and appreciate the game, was a fullback. No joke. Well, as I began to see my role develop, I watched him, Sam Gash, and he was one of those guys. He would make the Pro Bowl, never touching the ball, but he was a protector. He was the truest sense of the old school fullback. He protected his running back. He did it with honor. He did it with courage, and he did it with a little tenacity and some meanness to him. And that was neat because I got to watch him play for a number of years, and then I actually got to connect with him as I was entering. So maybe that's why he moves up a little bit in my book, is he kind of mentored me a little bit. But
nice.
He was one of those guys that nobody outside the team or the game knew who he was, but he was a man. He was a dude.
And his value, right? Obviously,
he
knew
exactly. He knew where his role was and where he could add value, and I love seeing that. That was one of the lessons he taught me was, hey, as a fullback, I'm not catching the ball. I'm not running the ball. I needed to see each of my one-on-one collisions as my battle, as where my value would be won. And he taught me about the 6-inch battle. And I loved, being able to identify each play with a plus or a minus based on that kind of measurement.
Nice. So let's go favorite, or if you were playing baseball, what would be your 2020 walk-up song?
So I'd have to probably go back to a little bit of my crazier days. I was a little more alternative, hard rock. I would probably go with AFI Miss Murder.
Okay.
I don't get to listen to that anymore. I got little girls. We listen to JoJo Siwa, but that's what if I was getting in the mood, that I go walk up to that and had music is funny that way, man. Music is emotional, and I truly, before each game, I would have a series of about 10 songs I would have to listen to transition and evolve into the guy willing to go out on the field and do my job. So I love the walk-up question. That's a good one.
Good. Right on. Well, Jim, man, I want to thank you for joining us this evening to share about just your story, right? And kind of just really giving us the keys to the pro mindset of confidence, trust, and value. Now, obviously, you do have the capability of talking about money management. I know you've shared some of your insights with us before with some of our student athletes. So how would one get access to the book, Your Money Vehicle?
Brother, I'm happy to, and I was hoping I was going to tell you this afterwards, but I'm going to send you guys a link, and anybody who wants to go to it, download the ebook for free. This is a resource that is in hundreds of high schools across the country right now, because this is a time to give. And I talked about sharpening your axe. If right now the best thing or worst thing you could do is grab this, go through it. It is the first 10 chapters, first 10 questions of your financial journey. And I would love, the only thing I ask for is feedback. I consider myself a great failure because I continue to grow and I continue to learn. And that feedback is what helps me. So I'm going to hook you guys up with that. And truly, social media, however you want to connect, Jed Collins 45. That is something that I'd love to hear about if and how you guys get to use it.
So we'll make sure we get that information from you, and we'll pass that along to our student athletes and our families, so they too can have access to your money vehicle and hopefully change the trajectory of the thought process and how they see money. And also how they manage money. Because again, we put these webinars out solely for the intent of what is life beyond the foul lines going to look like for me. Again, there's always life after a sport. And so we want to make sure that we're doing our part to share that wisdom and that information so that individuals are equipped and prepared to be the leader that they've been called to beyond the field.
Love it,
so
brother.
Jed, again, man, thank you so much, man. I do appreciate all that you're doing. I wish you the much success within the journey that you're on. It's a leap of faith for many of us, but as you said, it's the confidence that we have in something or someone that's allowing us to continue to fight the good fight of faith. So I appreciate your time with us, Jed. Be sure to complete the survey at the end of the webinar that will pop up on your screen. You can also find a link through our Facebook Live feed. And we're just appreciative of that. And I want you to know next Tuesday, join us, May 12th, as we talk with Washington State University's head baseball coach, Brian Green, to talk about the game of baseball, but also life beyond baseball as a collegiate coach. So you don't want to miss out. Stay connected to our social media platforms at BBB Inner City to stay up to date on future events. And we'll make sure we get you a copy of your money vehicle and all the information that comes with that. So make sure you all stay safe, healthy, and hopeful. And we'll see you at the ballpark soon. Jed, thanks a lot, brother.
Enjoy the night.
Take care.